wash the anger down with some H2O. No liquid death, by the way, because they don't sponsor this podcast. Let's move on. Looking at notes again. Oh yeah, I want to talk about a few things in the media, of course, because usually I do like some media breakdowns here, right? So let's just make this part of the show. Two things that stood out this week. One, I have to give some props to John Oliver again. Doesn't happen that often these days, but the last episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver talked about an important topic, which I do appreciate. They talked about data brokers. And we all know that we get tracked. And I'm not going to regurgitate, is that the right word? What John Oliver said. Just go to Last Week Tonight on YouTube, watch the 20-minute John Oliver video. That was really good about data brokers. Also, what they did in the end with the data, what they actually actively did was pretty smart, pretty good. But it very well explains that it's not just the tracking, it's not just the personalized ads that you see like here and there. It's like what else they can do with the data they have about you and like how they can profile you. So, and how easy it is to get access to the data and what that could mean for you. So, yeah, watch it. It's really, it's easy to understand. I think you have to think along, but they make it kind of easy to understand the data broker issue, if I want to call it like that. And yeah, it just highlights very well that it's not just, I don't have anything to hide, they can have my data. No, are you sure? It's not really about hiding things. It's about what they know about you. They could know that you're pregnant, even though your parents, for example, don't know yet, or didn't tell them, or that you have like some health condition based on what you're searching for online. You haven't told anyone, for example, but they know that already. So it's really crazy things, and this show, those 20 minutes, explains quite well and hopefully raise enough awareness, or not enough, but hopefully raise some awareness by an audience that usually doesn't think that much about it. I always try to talk about this with my students. I have like some classes on data-driven marketing, for example, but then in data-driven marketing, I, of course, well, from a marketing point of view, you're like, hey, that's awesome, let's use all the data. But also then I try to highlight the ethical point of view, the things that you could do, but you maybe shouldn't. So I do like what John Oliver did here quite a lot. And I haven't been watching his show in quite a while, but this episode now I watched because the topic is interesting. And they did a very good job on highlighting the issue of data brokers and how easy it is to just get all the data that you want. So please do check that out. It's only 20 minutes and it's worth a watch, especially I watch it until the end because the last 3 minutes then add a little bit of a twist to it where you go like, oh, wow. So yeah, that's pretty cool. If you want to hear more about this topic and you want to learn more about this topic, yeah, Google, but there's also an account on Twitter at MIKKO, who's like a data research / security expert, who I've been following him. Oh my god, for years now, and it's very informative. He doesn't even know me, so I'm not getting anything from recommending him. But yeah, so that's just very, very helpful in this regard as well. So I suggest you to check this out. And the second big thing in the media bubble, that's actually not only in the media bubble, the second big thing this week that happened this week is, of course, Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk first buying 9.2% of Twitter, then think about being on the board of Twitter, then not being able to get on the board of Twitter, and now trying to overtake Twitter by just buying it, offering $42 billion, some $50-something per share. And then he wants to take it private, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So Elon just trying to buy Twitter, and he says it's because of free speech. He doesn't like what Twitter does with like in regards to free speech as of late. So he wants to save free speech. That's what he's saying. So pardon me. So he's saying if he buys Twitter, then everybody, if he's in charge, then everybody can just say what they want, basically, because free speech, right? Question is now, and that divides, of course, now, yeah, Twitter, the Twitter sphere, society. Is it a good thing? A, do you believe him? So I'm not sure where I'm sitting on this. So first of all, is Twitter perfect right now? Definitely not. It is censoring some things, they don't censor other things. And it's clear to see what they censor, what they don't censor. Will it be better if Elon Musk runs Twitter? Are we sure that everybody will be allowed on it? B, should everybody be allowed on it? If someone says something terrible and then they just hire or just have lots of bots liking it, for example, doesn't this give them then more exposure even though they shouldn't have this exposure? Questions. But that's always the question with free speech, social media. It's also the same question you have like with a town square, right? Someone stands on a box and just shouts out. Just on Twitter, more people could see it and react to it. Now, for me, personally, I'm just not sure if Elon Musk really is that savior, our shining white knight, because I don't think he is. If he is, awesome. I'm happy to be wrong. I just don't think anyone with that much power is. There's always a power play behind any decision that people in such a position make, I believe. And I wouldn't be surprised if, like, in a year or two from now, Elon Musk just goes all super villain. Nevertheless, it's very interesting. It's interesting to see what's going to happen. What's with the shareholders of Twitter? If it's not going to be allowed, like, will people riot? Will people be mad at it? But then you hear that lots of Twitter employees, they don't want to work for Elon Musk, based again, I guess, on his political views, being affiliated with Joe Rogan and whatnot. So this is a very, very interesting situation that we're in right now here. Also, that someone that's not from a media space directly could have such a huge stake in the media. I don't know where I'm sitting here. So you're seeing me. If you're watching, if you're just listening, you listen to me trying to make up my mind right now. And on my notes, I only have like Elon, Twitter, because I don't really know what to think about it, to be honest. Is Twitter perfect right now? Definitely not. Definitely not perfect. Way too biased when it comes to censorship. I think we can all agree on that. But then should it be completely open for everybody? That's another question. Should everybody be allowed to say whatever they want? Do you have just the same rules apply for everybody? That probably would be the best thing to do, right? But then what are those rules? Who enforces those rules? And why does Elon have so much time to think about Twitter, and why doesn't he not focus on all the other 7,000 companies that he has? And why am I still not verified? Oh, best comment about this I saw on Twitter was by Ben Askren, former UFC fighter, former One Championship champion, Bellator champion. And he said, when Elon Musk buys Twitter, will Lex Fridman finally get verified? Because Lex Fridman and Elon Musk are like a bit closer. It seems they did some podcasts together. And Lex Fridman is still not verified on Twitter. So me neither, by the way, Twitter. Me neither. Like, who do I need to bribe? Do I need to buy a Tesla to get verified? What's happening? Will you get a blue badge when you buy a Tesla? That's also those things, right? What's he gonna do with the Twitter data that they get? Will they then just examine with the Tesla data and the SpaceX and the Starlink and Neuralink and whatever the boring company knows, like whatever they know. And it's just all meshed together. And so maybe they are building the first actual Skynet. Maybe Elon Musk actually is building Skynet right now. Who's going to save us from Elon Musk? And is Lex Fridman already a robot? Those are all questions that we need to find answers for. Oh my God. Lex Fridman. I really would want to talk to this guy. Lex Fridman, if you want to come on like a super small podcast out of Bangkok, that would be amazing. And my actual job is I am a university professor, Lex Fridman, so if this helps somewhat. I don't look like one right now. I understand maybe I should also do a podcast in like all suit and stuff like this and find a more professional setting, but I just like this because you cannot see it, and if you're just listening, you obviously can see it, but my cat's just always sleeping right next to me when I sit here. So that's just why I always sit like this. Because Spooky is just sleeping right next to me, and that keeps me calm. Anyways, Lex Fridman, come on my podcast. Do I have anything else that's in the media? Oh yeah, two more things. I mentioned a lot. Flagrant 2, best podcast in the world right now. Not just content wise. I disagree with lots of things they're saying. Actually, no, not with lots of things, but some things that are saying. Like Flagrant 2 podcast, Andrew Schulz, Akash Singh, and then like the other guys in the studio. I'd say 80% I'm laughing with them. 70% I agree on the things they're saying. 100% I appreciate the work they're putting in and how they're making things work, and the clips that they're editing out and that they're publishing to hype the shows and so on. So, yeah, but right now I think the best podcast in the game, best entertainment in the game. I think there wasn't a single show in a long that I can remember where I haven't laughed and where I haven't been able to appreciate the setups, the editing, then afterwards, so the clips that come out of it, or like the dedication to costumes and things like this. So yeah, Flagrant 2. Also, to tie in with like one of the upcoming topics I have, of course, Flagrant 2 now also like with some cool guests. The first podcast or the first show that made Alex Volkanovski, the current UFC featherweight champion, look kind of cool. Because usually he's not. So that was respect. I'm on this in a second. So yeah, big props to, I mean, as if the biggest comedy podcast on the world would need that, but big props to Flagrant 2, not only for the comedy, but for also the dedication to the setup / then the editing and the consistency. So that's really inspirational, I believe. So that's really well done. I like that. And there's another clip every day from Flagrant 2 until they have a new show, and then still another out of this show, then another clip every day until then the new show comes. So that's very, very well done, very structured, coherent. Yeah, that makes sense. I like it. I do miss the turn your phone sideways for a second though. Andrew Schulz, I know you're listening to this fantastically big podcast, huge podcast out of Bangkok. Where's the turn your phone real quick thing? That was kind of fun, but now of course others are doing it, so you're not doing it anymore. Gotta find something new, huh? Throw your phone out of the window real quick. Let me show you something. Throw your phone out of the window real quick. Ah! I'm sorry. I'm drinking water. That's it. So that's from one more thing in the media. If you follow this podcast, which 5 of you are, you might remember that over a few times I mentioned Russel Brand, and that he's doing like a good job in like referencing certain media theories. If you might know, if you watched or listened before that, I'm like in media studies, communication studies, and so on. So Russel Brand and his conspiracy podcast. It's hot today. I'm sorry. And his podcast, conspiracy podcast. So he does a good job on mentioning different media theories. Like he mentions Guy Debord, for example, who talks about postmodernism and all those things. He mentioned Jean Baudrillard, who talks about like hyper reality, meaning that what we see in the media isn't real anymore. As you know, like it's a fake reality, so to speak, but it becomes our real reality because we believe what we see. So that's in a nutshell what Baudrillard is talking about. And so I appreciate that Russel Brand reads about those things, tries to understand those theories, which he does, which is good. Nevertheless, is he losing it? The first thing are the titles of the videos. Now, if someone uses titles like all caps all the time, this is insane. Like, all right, so now we are like on the clickbaity end of things already, right? Because it's not insane. Not everything is insane and crazy. But other programs do that too, and that bothers me with all the programs. Breaking Point, it was Joe Rogan's favorite news show with Crystal and Saga. They do the same shit. And I hate it for it because it makes it look cheap. If you go like, this is insane or breaking or like this goes nuts, crazy, and it's all in all caps, I'm not taking it serious. I know that you're doing this because you want the clicks. So you're not even clicking unless the topic is really interesting to me. I think that's ridiculous, it's stupid, and it's an insult to the audience that you think you have to be like all caps just to get attention. So don't insult me as your audience. I'm not clicking on it. Where was I going? Oh, so that's the title for Russel Brand video. So that's already offending me. I'm watching way less of it just because of that. But then when I watch it, because the thumbnail shows like, I know Mark Zuckerberg, I'm like, what is this with Mark Zuckerberg now? Then the content becomes more and more like guru / preacher like with almost every video. And like I liked him like a half a year ago when it was more analytical. Now it's a little bit more preachy. And I wonder why it's the case. Is it just because now the following has doubled and he feels like he has to do that and tell the people what to do and what to think? I'm not sure. Maybe is it just a feeling? Is it just because I've watched so many of his videos that I get overexposed to it? Maybe so. It's a sincere question. Do let me know what you think. I just think that Russel Brand has become a bit more preachy. Is it a thing? And then also the titles, of course. And then they're always selling his shows like every single time. It's like, so you'd only want me to click on your clickbaity title to sell your shows. So let me know what you think. Like if I'm wrong, if it's just like my clouded perception or something, I'm happy to hear it. So sincere question. Also, Russel Brand, come on the podcast. You must like it in Thailand, Russel Brand. Meditation, Buddhism. I'm not even making fun of it. Like it's like, I mean, you can have some great meditation retreats and so on here in Thailand. So Russel Brand, if you want to come around, if you want to come by, I can suggest a few retreat centers, meditation centers, meditation retreats, and so on. So I didn't have a podcast there. Let's do it. So yeah, let me know what you think. Maybe it's again my clouded perception. Please do shout out. I'm happy to hear about that. What you guys think. Okay, that was what in the media.